Hello, my name is Sery-Ble. I'm president of Zenaza and Smyrna. In prelude to the Copenhagen summit, I would like to speak to the world leaders about a few things. I'd like to make a few remarks and recommendations, which I believe will be very beneficial for the people living in the developing world. Environmental problems are becoming increasingly serious and detrimental to mankind. In Copenhagen, you will be meeting to discuss the means and ways to tackle global warming, because global warming is at the origin of climate change, and global warming itself has its origin from environmental pollution. So you will be meeting there to talk about a crucial problem, a problem of capital importance, because it deals with human life. And this is what I would like to speak about. Copenhagen would not be a success if the resolutions do not take into account a few things. First, the stability of a country where the resolution is meant to be applied. Countries where there is no stability, where coup d'etat arise, would be the first countries where you would see an increased environmental pollution. The case of Côte d'Ivoire is very clear. In 2005, there was a coup. In 2006, Côte d'Ivoire experienced the worst environmental disaster ever, man-made environmental disaster. A boat filled with environmental pollutant went to Ivory Coast and polluted many sites in Abidjan, causing the death of hundreds of people and compromising the lives of millions of people. It is impossible to apply a good program, a good resolution in an unstable country, in a country where there is no democracy. So I'm appealing to your conscience to think about the applicability of the resolution of the summit. The second reason why the Copenhagen summit would not be a success would be if the resolution do not take into account a multidisciplinary, multi-sectorial approach to resolve prior environmental issues. For many years, African countries have been the dumping ground of Western countries. The shores, the bottom of the shores of many African countries are polluted, leaving so many reservoirs of environmental pollution. Those reservoirs need to be located, need to be destroyed, and the area need to be revalorized. Similarly, some cities, just as I was telling you about Côte d'Ivoire, have been heavily polluted. So there is a need, a tangible need, for Copenhagen to put in place a stimulus package. That stimulus package will address previous environmental disasters, encompassing, for instance, the medical issues as well as the capacity building issues that are needed to address the long-term effect of environmental pollution. As we know, environmental pollutants are endocrine disruptors, and the endocrine system is linked to the central nervous system, which is also linked to the immune system. So when someone is exposed to an environmental pollutant, it is his entire body which is at risk. Such person becomes susceptible to all types of infections and diseases, including AIDS, let alone malaria and tuberculosis. So the package is a legitimate request, because without such package, those who have been exposed for so many years will die unnecessarily. His father used to work near a dumping ground. So the genetic impact of his exposure to environmental pollutant led to the child having only one testicle. Do you see these kids here? Some of them will end up with pulmonary diseases, skin disease, eye diseases, diabetes, a whole range of diseases that would impede their ability to function as normal people, let alone intellectual abilities. So these issues need to be addressed. In 2007, we launched the Global Wellness Campaign, and we raised awareness about the necessity to do a screening, a systematic screening of the people living in the developing world in order to assess their level of well-being and to better address their health status. The campaign also aimed at increasing the capacity, building capacities in African countries. African countries need more laboratories, modern hospitals, modern research centers, state-of-the-art environmental research centers. We anticipate through our program to provide Africa with a disease tracking network, with a national toxicology program, with state-of-the-art programs to lengthen the life expectancy of people living in the developing world. I purposely emphasize research because since the launching of our campaign, research has now been considered as a centerpiece in the economic development of Côte d'Ivoire. We didn't have, at the time, a Minister of City and Hygiene at the same time. Now we do. So the campaign has been very fruitful. Côte d'Ivoire received the highest ever grant from the PEPFAR program, $125 million. We're not part of the management of that money, but this is to say that our project, our suggestions, our programs are beneficial to developing countries. And finally, I would like to address the issue of drug design. It is a fact, it is a scientific fact that those who have been exposed to environmental pollutants have a deficit in their ability to metabolize most drugs, for instance. Everything we eat, we know, are metabolized through our liver system. But if one cytochrome P450 system is deregulated, well, it will be impossible for such an individual to metabolize the drug it takes to cure his disease. So there is a need to revisit the paradigm underpinning drug design, because the drugs that are shipped to most developing countries are not appropriate anymore by virtue of the fact that the metabolic system is suppressed, is depressed, is deregulated. So there is a need for research in that area. The drugs that are made need to be adapted now to the physiology of the people living in that part of the world. Of course, there are many reasons to do research from the agricultural standpoint. For instance, if the ground is polluted, well, the crop will be polluted. If the ground is polluted, everything that comes from the ground will be polluted. And if it's consumed, well, it is a poison. It's a permanent poison. So I'm going to stop here to say that I welcome the idea of having the World Environmental Organization proposed by French President Sarkozy. Through that organization, which will work in synergy with the other UN organization, The stimulus package will address not only previous conditions, but it will also help finance capacity building and the development, sustainable development effort in African countries. I wish you success during the Copenhagen Summit, and may God bless you. Thank you very much.